Robert Klinkenbeard with the Radix Group wanted to talk to you today about a function accountability chart. It's what are the main functions within your company that really grow your company. Sometimes you go into a company and there's so much overlap between positions, maybe there's co-owners, there's some confusion about who goes to what person within the company. So the first thing I recommend is what are the core functions needed within a company. Obviously that's going to vary depending on the size of the company, but the main ones I can think of are sales, what's the main revenue generation, operations, the financial part, HR if you've got a lot of employees, and then marketing. So really just list out what the main core functions within a company, and then start to think about, well, who's my go-to person for each of those functions. So list the functions first, then start putting in some names against that. Now what you'll quickly see is there any overlaps? Is there any gaps? Do you have multiple names in different positions? And obviously that's going to not only cause some confusion, but maybe there's somebody stretched too thin. Maybe somebody's trying to do sales, but also looking after the financial part, maybe looking after the employees in the HR part. So they're only going to be able to spend so much time on each of those functions. So start looking for those overlaps, those gaps. Look at confusion by who's the employee reporting to, who did they go if there's an issue within the company. So just a lot of inefficiencies by having all these different functions, all these different names. Just get a little bit more clear, and maybe even get this mapped out on one of the main walls in your office. And then once you've got that solidified and put into place, it's really clear for everybody, then start to list out what are their 3 to 5 main functions within that role. So finance, for example, would be accounts receivable, accounts payable, maybe cash flow, and maybe budgets as well. So those are the main functions that person will be responsible for. And then once that's solidified, then do you have some KPIs, some critical numbers against that position? So ideally what you're looking for is each function in place, one name within each function, the list of just the functions within that, and then what are their critical numbers? What can you go to them and say, hey, you've performed really well in your KPI, you've hit that target number. We talk about reviews being done on a regular basis, but unless you have those numbers and targets, then it's just going to be almost like a feel-good type factor. So hopefully that's helpful today. This is Robert Klinkenbeard with the Radix Group, and thank you very much.